Hello YouTube, this is Judson Game 44 here, and today we are here to do a review of the Amazing Digital Circus Episode 5. Ironic, I usually don't talk about the titles in the Amazing Digital Circus, but this one was kind of funny. This one literally says Untitled, because the episode itself doesn't really know what it's doing. Okay, let's really begin. The episode starts off with Sumo basically staying behind from Adventure, as the team had apparently just came back from one. From what it looks like, they all were wet and covered in seaweed, completely looking like they were some underwater adventure, which, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of curious to know what type of adventure they were taking on exactly. But what went on with this adventure was during the time, well, actually, no, we really don't know that much. It kind of just seemed like everyone was exhausted. Kane, though, is kind of getting frustrated a bit with Sumo not attending these adventures, and they start having a discussion where some characters like adventures and certain things, but nothing seems to go well, so they decide Kane, well, actually, it really was Kane, where he took the suggestion box and they're all going on all the suggestions all at once. And, like, none of them are, like, wanting to do this because they literally just came back from one. And it's kind of funny. The first two ones was with Jax, where Jax is a hunter, and he basically took down Gangle, who is a rhinoceros, if I said that right, and basically started eating him, which he's basically just eating string. However, the whole entire group has the able to vote if they want to skip an adventure or not, and they quickly skip that adventure as well. Make Jax a vegan, which basically it sucks. So during this time, they go on to a next adventure where Pawnee is a president, which these first two adventures were really funny because when they first started, we literally kind of like got the intro of the title of these adventures, and like the characters kind of like comment on it before they get into it, and like Pawnee was finding it funny that somehow, well, not funny, like, why is it me? I'm the president, because it literally says President Pawnee. And really, it's kind of just been a weird mojo where people are just running in with like, "Oh my goodness, Bonnie, you have to stop this" or something, or anything. It's just a bit weird and random, honestly. But then soon after all that, they eventually get into like a star version where it's basically just a bunch of. Wait, no, that wasn't that. I got that mixed up. That was with the anime that came next. Which I'm not gonna lie to you, I wish they had done another version where in this they're now in an anime slice of life anime. The art style, everything, they're all dressed up as anime characters, which was funny, but sadly they soon had to skip it. I'm not gonna lie, I really did wish they made a whole entire episode of them being anime. That would have been cool. But what happens next, then they're in like stargazing, where it's just a team outside of the tent, and they're all just like sitting down and relaxing and just talking. This was actually, though, kind of an interesting, because while the characters were all talking, Ragatha accidentally said something that offended Jax that made him angry, and Ragatha realized what she had said, even though she may or may not have meant what she said. However, as much as this was all fun and everything, while the characters were all just talking and relaxing, sad Kane was watching down below and realized if they enjoy the suggestion box, they might not like his adventures anymore. So out of nowhere, he started doing this whole entire, I don't even know really how you call this thing, but it's just reminds me of Cartoon Network intros when they did those things back in like the 2010s or something, where the characters were all running around between shows and everything. That was just weird. Right before they came back to the episodes. But yeah, eventually, the next adventure is just them in a bar, which this was Sumo's suggestion. The anime was Gangles. I don't remember if they mentioned who did the stargazing adventure, but still. Now, in the bar scene, it's basically the characters just all talking about their backstories. We learned that Gangle actually went to community college, but drop out, and she also worked at a fast food joint as well. She wanted to be like an animator, which was interesting, I will say. We did learn some of this back from the previous episode when during she was doing the whole entire video of Jax, but still. Anyway, Sumo basically was a tattoo artist, and also she also worked at a bar as well. Pawnee actually used to work at like some store, but she also did like a YouTube channel that no one watched the videos. And she's 25 years old. Her age has been confirmed in this episode. Which, I will be honest, it's kind of weird that these characters somehow remember their past, but they don't remember their names. As well, we also learn that Jax is pretty much afraid of corn. Which is wow. And Ragatha, we learned that she kind of had an abusive mother, which was actually, you could tell she was actually getting uncomfortable saying it, but she was also on a farm and everything. Now, this was just like a calm and everything, relaxing adventure, just like the stargazing one where the characters were all sitting down talking. But then, Kang was getting bored and said, let's go to the next one. We made to the final adventure where it's basically them playing softball. And every character has an evil version of them, except for Jax and Gango. Although, let's be for real here, I think Jax is already evil, because this evil version of Jax is basically just a shy, nervous person. And it's kind of funny just seeing how all the characters are playing softball, because the evil version of Genga is Genga. Oh wait, not Genga. Sumo is actually the one who's like a moron. While we basically have like an evil version of Bubbles, because it's just a bunch of bubble things. Since it's replacing Gango. I have no idea what that character was called. I keep forgetting that character, honestly. But no. Also, we did learn that we have like a guy that just comes randomly just to disappear from both the bar and the softball game. Ragatha evil version is kind of weird if you ask me. At the ending of the adventure, she just melted away. Anyway, it kind of seemed a bit weird and everything, but I think what was mostly interesting was the common conversations that Pawnee had with Ragatha, and apparently, eventually, she did apologize to Jax for what she said earlier back at the stargazing thing. And Sumo, I didn't realize this at first who put the corn there, but it was definitely Sumo. She put a corn right behind Jax, and basically he jumped like a cat, as if it was like a snake with a cucumber. Anyway, every character got a chance to kind of play, except for Ragatha and Pawnee. Although Ragatha technically really didn't play at all, even though she was called up. Because Kane basically had to change up certain things. Like, he was the one who made the evil versions, and he was the one who basically decided when it was over. Especially he did that with 2 other Avengers. But eventually, it was all done, and Kane thought they would all like his Avengers more. But apparently, they really did not. And after all that, at the ending, we see that there's someone watching them from the background. I thought it was an NPC that was hiding there. But we'll find that out sooner in a couple of episodes later. So really, what was my opinion about this episode? Honestly, I feel like this episode was made just to do like random things. Like all types of story ideas or something all in one. Like you got the different adventures and everything. But also it gave the characters all just something to talk about and everything. While they were in these adventures. Like mostly they were in, well, mostly in the softball, because I think that was the longest. But when it came to the bar and the stargazing one, that was when they were all just sitting down talking. Kano did interrupt in most of the adventures except for the first 2, since he basically was the one who decided to end those adventures. Honestly, I did wish they made an anime episode 1, because I think that was pretty cool. Which sucks that it was cut short because of Jax not liking anime, I guess. As well, as for everything else, there's really not that much I can really say. This is definitely like just a fun, more relaxed episode until you get to more deeper with when the characters are talking about their backstories. Although, like I said, it is kind of weird that they remember their lives, but they don't remember their names. Like, that's weird if you ask me. But besides all that, when this whole entire story ends, it was really just kind of interesting. Honestly, I think this is more the more funner episodes because it's more simple, but it also gets into more deep with the characters just sitting down and talking in the certain adventures they had. Now, what do I think of this episode entirely with the rating? Honestly, I give it an 8 out of 10. While it's definitely not the most greatest episode, it was definitely fun to just be more relaxing in it. But until then, Justin Game 44 signing out. See you all later. Bye.